I would be truly grateful if you subscribe to the channel. Your support will help this family grow, so let's move forward together. My girlfriend insisted I meet her parents over dinner. She trashed me in Italian all night, thinking I wouldn't understand. He's too stupid to even know, she laughed. After dinner, I thanked her parents in fluent Italian and exposed every lie she'd told them. Alright, Reddit. My girlfriend roasted me to her parents, assuming I couldn't understand, but I shocked her by dismantling her lies in perfect Italian. She refused to leave my apartment, then escalated to theft and stalking with her friends. So, I took my revenge. Here's what went down. My girlfriend, Sophia, 25, female, had been hounding me, Luca Bianchi, 27, male, for months about meeting her parents. Not asking, demanding, like it was her birthright. Every conversation twisted into, when are you meeting my family, Luca? Yeah, my name's Luca. Dad's American, Mom was from Bologna. More on that later. Sophia wasn't the type to ask nicely for anything. She thought a flutter of her eyelashes meant she deserved the world, designer bags, fancy dinners, weekend trips to Napa, all on my dime, naturally, because her gig at a wellness startup barely covered her car payment. The red flags were glaring from day one, but I ignored them like a fool. She'd forget her wallet every time we went out, or pout and freeze me out if I suggested splitting a bill. Real men take care of their women, she'd say with a manipulative smirk. But the biggest red flag? She never asked about my family. In 3 years, she knew my dad was American and my mom died when I was 17. That's where her curiosity stopped. She was too busy monologuing about herself to care about my background. The manipulation kicked into high gear when she saw direct pressure wasn't working. She started name-dropping other couples where the guy had met the parents. Mia's boyfriend proposed after meeting her family, she'd hint. They said it showed he was committed. What I didn't know, I wasn't walking into a cozy family dinner. I was the main course at a roast. But Sophia didn't know something either. My mom wasn't just from Italy, she was born in Bologna, raised speaking Italian before English, and taught me the language from day one. After she died when I was 17, speaking Italian felt like ripping open a wound, so I stopped, buried it. My last name's Bianchi, but I look like I walked out of a country club catalog. In 3 years, Sophia never once asked about my mom's background. That detail was about to ruin her. The dinner was set for Saturday at her parents' place in a gated community where the HOA probably dictates your mailbox color. I threw on a nice shirt, grabbed flowers for her mom, and picked up Sophia. She was nervous, which was odd. Sophia's usually as humble as a reality TV star. That night, she kept checking her reflection and asking if I looked presentable enough. They're going to love you, she said. Just be yourself, but tone it down a bit. Tone what down? I'm an architect, not a circus act. The car ride was a red flag parade. Sophia coached me on what to say, what to avoid. Don't talk about work too much, they think job braggers are insecure. And don't mention your hobbies, they'll think you're immature. So, basically, don't be me. Got it. What should I talk about then? I asked. Just let them lead. Answer their questions. Be charming. We pulled up to a McMansion screaming, we refinanced twice for this. Mr. Moretti answered, firm handshake, sizing me up like he was calculating my credit score. Mrs. Moretti stood behind him, her smile sharp enough to cut glass. You must be Luca, she said in English, but I caught her shooting Sophia a look that said, this is what you brought home? The house was predictable, oversized furniture, too many decorative pillows, family photos everywhere showcasing Sophia's spoiled childhood. A trophy case in the living room held participation awards from her dance classes. We sat in their formal dining room with fine china and cloth napkins, staged like a magazine shoot. And then the show began. Sophia switched to rapid-fire Italian with her parents. Turned to me with a fake smile, we're just catching up. We'll switch to English soon, I promise. Those few minutes became 2 hours. 2 hours of me sitting like a potted plant while the woman I thought I loved shredded my reputation in a language she assumed was her secret weapon. I smiled, nodded, passed the bread, and understood every damn word. You know that feeling when someone's digging their own grave and keeps asking for a bigger shovel? That was my life for 2 hours. It started with my career. Sophia told her parents, he's fine, but he has no ambition. He's content being a nobody at some small firm. I'm the one with drive. I basically support us because his salary is pathetic. I bit my tongue to keep from laughing. I make $160,000 a year as a senior associate at a top architectural firm. Sophia makes maybe $45,000 hawking overpriced supplements to soccer moms. I've paid for every vacation, every fancy dinner, every designer purse, including a $12,000 Greece trip last year where she whined the suite wasn't big enough. Her mom leaned in, whispering, "Then why are you with him?" Sophia shrugged dramatically. "He's convenient. Pays for everything, doesn't ask questions, isn't smart enough to cause problems, like a well-trained dog." Then she attacked my personality. "Annoying," she sighed. "He's boring, no culture, no sophistication. Won't even try to learn Italian despite dating me for 3 years. It's like dating a golden retriever, sweet, but not much upstairs." I had Dante's Inferno in Italian on my nightstand. I've read Italian literature since high school. But why would she know? She never cared about anything that didn't involve her. Her dad chimed in, "He seems like the type who only watches sports and drinks. These Americans are all the same." Sophia nodded eagerly. "Exactly. Predictable. Every weekend it's football, drinks, video games, like a teenager who never grew up. Rich, coming from someone whose culture was reality TV and whose hobbies were shopping and complaining." The real kicker came when her mom asked about marriage. "Has he made his intentions clear?" "I'm ready to marry tomorrow," Sophia said. "But he's terrified of commitment. I've dropped hints for months, and he ignores them. Probably keeping his options open, if you know what I mean." At that moment, an $8,000 custom engagement ring sat in my bedroom safe. I'd booked a surprise Tuscany trip for her birthday, first-class tickets, 5-star hotel in Florence, the full romantic package, to propose. Hearing her call me a commitment phobe while I was planning to propose in her ancestral homeland? Cosmic-level irony. They kept going, dissecting my family, my future, my worth as a human, while I sat there, the dumb American boyfriend too stupid to know he was being roasted. Mrs. Moretti got vicious about my background. "He doesn't even know where his family comes from. These Americans have no roots, no history. How can you build a future with someone who doesn't know who he is?" Sophia nodded like the dutiful daughter. "Exactly, Mom. He's so empty, no depth, no passion. It's like living with a mannequin." The worst part wasn't what she said, it was the casual cruelty. She'd flash loving smiles at me while telling her parents I was a charity case she might dump. I kept thinking about my mom during this. How she taught me Italian wasn't just a language, it was our tie to family, history, who we were. She read me bedtime stories in Italian, taught me her nana's recipes, made sure I knew my roots. And here was Sophia, weaponizing that sacred language to mock me. But I held it together. I wasn't raised to flip tables or storm out. I catalogued every lie, every insult, waiting for the perfect moment to detonate. That moment came during dessert. Her dad looked at me like I was a disappointing pet and asked Sophia in Italian, "Are you sure about this one?" He seemed simple. Sophia laughed, patted my hand condescendingly, looked me in the eyes like we were sharing a moment, and said in Italian, "Don't worry. He's too stupid to understand what we're saying. Look at him, sitting there with that blank smile like a trained seal." That was it. Game over. Every ounce of grief, rage, and betrayal crystallized into cold, surgical clarity. I wasn't going to yell or make a scene. I was going to wait and nuke her world. The moment came as we were leaving. Her dad, maybe feeling guilty for roasting me to my face, patted my shoulder and said in slow English, like I was a toddler, "Nice meeting you, Luca." I smiled, looked him in the eye, and let my mom's language flow like silk. "Signor Moretti," I said in flawless, unaccented Italian. The pleasure was all mine. You know that moment in movies when the bomb timer hits 0 and everything goes silent before the blast? That's what happened. Mrs. Moretti's wine glass slipped, shattering on the floor. Mr. Moretti's jaw dropped so fast I thought he'd break it. Sophia went white, then green, like she might puke, faint, or combust, maybe all three. But I wasn't done. Keeping my polite smile, I turned to her parents, still in Italian. "Before we leave, I'd like to clear up some misunderstandings from tonight." The silence was so thick you could have heard a pin drop across town. Sophia froze, deer in headlights, realizing I'd understood every word. It was beautiful. I kept my voice calm, pleasant, like I was discussing the weather, and dismantled her lies with surgical precision. "First, the money situation," I said. Sophia mentioned concerns about my financial stability. To ease your minds, I pulled out my phone, showing the Tuscany trip confirmation, first-class tickets, four-season suite, Michelin-starred restaurant reservations. This was the surprise I planned for her birthday. She said she supports us financially. A simple misunderstanding, I'm sure. Sophia's face drained of color. A tear cut through her makeup. She couldn't move, couldn't speak, watching her world implode. "Next, the culture issue," I continued. She mentioned my lack of interest in Italian culture. This hurt deeply. My mother, Giulia, was from Bologna. She raised me speaking her language, it was my childhood, my heart. After she passed, it was too painful to speak, so I kept it private because it's sacred. Mrs. Moretti's hand went to her chest, her expression shifting from disgust to horror. Mr. Moretti stared at Sophia with profound disappointment, like he was seeing her clearly for the first time. Finally, the killing blow. I looked at Sophia, voice ice cold. You told your parents I'm afraid of commitment, stringing you along. You said this knowing I spent 2 months designing your engagement ring, planning to propose in Tuscany's hills next month. I let that sink in. But a man cannot propose to a woman who thinks he's a stupid, worthless burden. A man cannot build a future with a woman who uses his dead mother's language to mock him. I stood, turned to her parents one last time. Grazie mille, thank you for everything. You have a beautiful home. Then I walked out, got in my car, and drove away, leaving Sophia in the wreckage of the life she'd torched with her own mouth. The car ride home was silent. Sophia finally came out and got in, still in shock. When we reached our apartment, she exploded. You set me up, she screamed. You deceived me. You planned this trap. No, Sophia, I said, voice level. I didn't do anything. I just existed. You hung yourself with your words. All I did was understand them. She paced like a caged animal, alternating between rage and panic. This is insane. You hid this from me. I didn't hide anything. You never asked. In 3 years, you never asked about my mom's background, where she was from, what languages I spoke. You were too busy talking about yourself. That hit hard. She stopped pacing, staring like she was seeing me for the first time. But you never what? Never volunteered information you showed zero interest in. Then came the waterworks, the begging. I didn't mean it. I was nervous. There's no coming back from this, I told her. You didn't just lie. You humiliated me using my mother's memory as entertainment. That's unforgivable. I walked to the bedroom, started packing her stuff. This is my apartment, my lease. I want you out by tomorrow. That's when her true colors showed. The tears stopped, replaced by cold fury. You can't kick me out. I have rights. I live here too. No, I said calmly. You sleep here sometimes. There's a difference. She stared, stunned, like she thought tears or threats would bend me. But she'd crossed a line there was no returning from. That's when Sophia's real nightmare began. The next morning, she refused to pack, sitting on the couch in pajamas like she was staging a sit-in. I'm not leaving, she declared. This is my home too. You can't make me. I called my childhood friend, Nico, who I've known since we were 12. He's got a knack for cutting through nonsense with surgical precision. Need backup, I told him. Maybe a place to crash while I deal with this. Say less, he replied. I'll pack a bag. This sounds like entertainment. Nico showed up an hour later with a duffel, 2 Starbucks cups, and a grin that could eat popcorn. He took one look at Sophia on my couch and said, "Oh, this'll be fun. So you're the girl who thinks Luca's too stupid to understand basic Italian? Bold move. How's that working out?" Sophia's eyes narrowed when she saw his bag. What the hell is he doing here? He's staying here, I said calmly. It's my apartment. You can't move someone in to intimidate me. Nico laughed. Intimidate you? Princess, I'm 5 feet 8 inches and work in IT. If my presence intimidates you, that's your guilty conscience talking. That's when Sophia tried her first power play. Fine, I'll leave. But I want the engagement ring. I blinked. What engagement ring? The one you bought me. You said you bought a ring. I said I bought a ring. Past tense, for a proposal that's never happening. It's going back to the jeweler. Nico nearly choked on his coffee. Holy shit, princess. You think you're entitled to jewelry from the guy you roasted for 2 hours? That's next level delusion. Sophia's face reddened. I deserve compensation for 3 years of my life. Compensation? I laughed. For what? Free vacations, designer bags, rent-free living? You want payment for playing house. Nico was typing on his phone. This is gold. Please keep making demands you have no legal right to. I'm documenting everything. That's when she declared war. Instead of leaving, she dug in. Fine, I'm not going anywhere. You want me gone? Drag me out. Nico looked at me, deadpan. Did she just refuse to leave your apartment while demanding compensation? I believe she did. Fascinating. What followed was a week of psychological warfare. Sophia didn't just refuse to leave, she tried to make our lives hell. She'd blast music at 3 a.m., leave dirty dishes everywhere, invite her toxic friends over without warning. The first night, she cranked a trashy pop playlist at max volume while Nico and I tried to sleep. When I knocked on the bedroom door to ask her to turn it down, she screamed, "This is my home too. I can play music whenever I want." Nico was a saint. When Sophia threw screaming fits, he'd pop in earbuds and ignore her. When she left passive-aggressive notes, he'd respond. Her note, some people need to learn respect and basic human decency. Nico's response, some people need to learn Italian isn't a secret code and actions have consequences. Also, you're out of toilet paper. The warfare escalated. Sophia used all the hot water before my shower. Nico countered by waking at 5 a.m. to shower first, then loudly making coffee while she tried to sleep. She'd eat my food, claiming she forgot it wasn't hers. Nico started labeling everything in the fridge, Luca's lunch. Do not eat unless you want to pay for takeout replacement. His labels became art. Sophia's yogurt. Oh, wait, Sophia doesn't buy groceries. This is Luca's yogurt. Hands off, klepto. Or my favorite, this sandwich belongs to the guy who pays rent here. Nico's genius was handling her manipulation. Every time Sophia tried guilt-tripping me or playing victim, he'd narrate like a nature documentary. And here we see the entitled princess in her natural habitat, he'd say in a David Attenborough voice mid-tantrum. Notice how she fluffs her feathers and squawks when denied resources she believes she owns by divine right. Sophia would shriek, stop talking about me like I'm not here. Nico, unfazed, the common princess sapiens becomes agitated when her behavior is observed. Fascinating. The real circus came when Sophia's friends, Mia and Chloe, showed up for moral support. Day 3, I came home to find all three on my couch like they were holding court, eating my food, plotting their next move. You can't kick Sophia out, Mia announced. She has nowhere to go. Nico, making a sandwich in the kitchen, called over, she has parents. She has friends. She has options. What she doesn't have is the legal right to squat in someone's apartment. This is emotional abuse. Chloe screeched. No, Nico said calmly. Emotional abuse is what Sophia did at that dinner. This is just consequences. I understand the confusion. Mia stood, pointing at me. You're destroying her life over a misunderstanding. Nico looked up from his sandwich. A misunderstanding? She called him a trained seal in Italian while laughing. For 2 hours. Sophia ramped up the harassment. She'd accidentally walk in on me showering, move my stuff and claim ignorance, order food to the apartment and stick me with the bill. The food scam was pathetic. She'd order $40 of Thai food, then vanish when it arrived, leaving me with a confused delivery guy. Nico started intercepting drivers. If Sophia ordered it, she pays. No cash? Take it back. He had her number from day one. When she'd fake cry, he'd say, oh, look, the waterworks are back. Like clockwork, every time someone calls out her behavior, here come the tears. By day 5, Sophia was desperate. She couldn't handle Nico's relentless commentary. Every manipulation tactic was exposed and mocked. Why do you hate me? She asked Nico during a pathetic breakdown. I never did anything to you. I don't hate you, Sophia, Nico said. I just have zero tolerance for bullshit, and you're a walking bullshit factory. Nothing personal. You're used to enablers. Luca was too nice to call you out, your parents spoiled you rotten, your friends are as delusional as you. But I don't care about your feelings, so I'll keep pointing out reality. Then Sophia made her biggest mistake. On day 7, while Nico and I were at work, she packed up and left, but not just her stuff. She took mine too. I came home to find half my things gone, my iPad, expensive headphones, 2 watches, designer clothes, and, worst of all, my mom's jewelry box she'd found in my closet. Nico whistled, damn, she went full klepto. I was documenting for a police report when Sophia texted, I took what I deserved. Consider it compensation for 3 years of emotional labor. Nico read it over my shoulder. Emotional labor? Is that what we're calling being a toxic girlfriend now? Stealing's payment for imaginary services? Should we tell her that's not how employment law works, or let her explain it to the cops? The theft was just the start. Sophia and her toxic brigade, Mia and Chloe, launched a harassment campaign. They'd show up at my gym, coffee shop, office building, not just asking for stuff back but trying to humiliate me publicly. At the gym, mid-workout, all three marched through the weight section like they owned it. Members stared as Sophia performed. There he is, the guy who kicked me out with nowhere to go. Mia cornered me outside my office during lunch, loud enough for passers-by, dropped the victim act. Sophia only took what was rightfully hers. Rightfully hers? I laughed. My dead mother's jewelry was rightfully hers? That stumped her for 2 seconds before Chloe jumped in. You manipulated her for years. You owe her. Nico, meeting me for lunch, overheard and chimed in, oh, good, the flying monkeys are back. Ladies, in what universe does emotional disappointment justify theft? I'm curious about the theory. Shut up, Mia snapped. This has nothing to do with you. Actually, it does, Nico said. I'm the witness who watched Sophia refuse to leave Luca's apartment for a week while demanding compensation for imaginary services. Also, smile for the camera. He held up his phone, recording. Both went pale. You can't record us without permission. Chloe stammered. Actually, I can. Thanks for the evidence. They weren't done. They launched a social media blitz, posting about my abuse, manipulation, and theft of Sophia's belongings. Problem was, their stories didn't align. Sophia said I stole her money, Mia claimed I destroyed her property, Chloe insisted I cheated with multiple women. The stalking got worse. They'd sit in Mia's car outside my building, following me to work, the store, the gym. One morning, I found them in my parking garage at 6 a.m., waiting for me to leave for work. This is insane, Nico said, peering through the blinds. They're literally stalking you now. Sophia crossed the final line by showing up at my office building, not just calling, but walking in, demanding to see me. Security escorted her out 3 times. The footage was gold, Sophia screaming at the front desk, threatening to expose me to my coworkers. The security guard, a massive guy named Marcus, physically removed her while she shrieked about her rights. The last straw was when she tailgated into my building and left a bag of my stuff outside my door, half of it random junk, like a broken phone charger, a tourist trap keychain, and an unused pregnancy test. The note read, "I'm being generous. The rest stays with me until you pay what you owe." Nico examined the bag. "She gave you back 1 sock, your high school yearbook, and, is this a stapler? Whose stapler is this?" "I have no idea." "There's more," Nico said, digging. "A pregnancy test? What the hell? She's trying to mess with your head." That night, Nico sat me down with a drink. "Dude, stop being nice and go legal." Monday morning, I called my lawyer, Matteo, and laid it out, the theft, harassment, stalking, threats. I had screenshots of every text, photos of them following me, office security footage. Matteo listened and whistled. "Luca, this isn't just a bad breakup. This is criminal. We're talking restraining order, theft charges, harassment charges. How much was the stolen stuff worth?" I documented everything. Watches worth $3,000, mom's jewelry box insured for $5,000, total damages around $12,000. "File everything," I told him. "Restraining order, theft charges, civil suit. I'm done being reasonable." Matteo grinned. "Now you're talking. Let's bury her in paperwork." The restraining order was easy. The judge reviewed the evidence, photos of them following me, threatening texts, office security footage, and granted it immediately. "Mr. Bianchi," the judge said, "this behavior is unacceptable. Ms. Moretti and her associates are to have no contact with you. Any violation means immediate arrest." The process server said Sophia broke down crying when served, claiming she was the victim. But I wasn't done. I dug into Sophia's job. Her wellness startup had a strict social media and conduct policy. I spent an evening compiling a package, screenshots of her harassment posts, stalking photos, documentation of her confronting me in public. It showed a clear pattern of unprofessional, harassing behavior. Using an anonymous email, I sent it to her company's HR with a note, "You may want to know how one of your employees represents your company in public." The fallout was swift. Sophia was fired within 48 hours. They'd already had client complaints about her social media meltdowns. My package was the final straw. Nico got the update from Mia's boyfriend, who was fed up with the drama. "Sophia got canned," he said. "She's claiming wrongful termination, but they documented everything, social media violations, harassment, negative attention to the company. She's toast." The theft charges stuck. My mom's jewelry box was found in Sophia's new apartment during a search warrant. She claimed I'd gifted it to her, but photos from my apartment months earlier proved otherwise. The civil suit was where it got juicy. Sophia tried to countersue for emotional distress, but her case was laughable. Then Matteo dropped a bombshell. "Luca, I got a call from someone unexpected. Mr. Moretti reached out privately." "Sophia's father?" "The very same. He's been soul-searching since that dinner. Wants to settle quietly and return your property. Says he's worried about the family's reputation." I couldn't believe it. Sophia's own dad was switching sides. Matteo arranged a meeting. Mr. Moretti showed up looking like he'd aged a decade since dinner. He was quiet, respectful, embarrassed. "Luca," he said, placing my mom's jewelry box on Matteo's desk. "I owe you an apology. What happened at our dinner, what Sophia did after, it's not how we raised her." He handed Matteo a cashier's check for the full settlement and legal fees. "I hope this covers the damages. I hope you can forgive a foolish old man who didn't see his daughter clearly until too late." The court hearing was the cherry on top. Sophia had no idea her father had contacted us. She walked in expecting his support, thinking Daddy would bail her out like always. Instead, she saw him in the gallery on my side. Her mouth fell open, she stumbled, her cut-rate lawyer steadying her. "Your Honor," Matteo said in his opening, "the defendant's own family recognizes the severity of her actions. Mr. Moretti has cooperated fully, returning stolen property and taking responsibility for his daughter's behavior." Sophia stared at her father, betrayed. Mr. Moretti couldn't meet her eyes, staring at his hands as she realized even her family thought her actions indefensible. Her lawyer threw in the towel within an hour, settling for the full amount once the overwhelming evidence and lack of family support sank in. Watching Sophia realize she'd burned every bridge, lost every ally, was better than any settlement. Her dad left without speaking to her. Nico heard she spent 20 minutes crying in the courthouse bathroom. 6 months later, Sophia's life had imploded. No job, legal bills she couldn't afford, a restraining order tailing her, a ruined reputation in our social circle. Her friendship with Mia and Chloe collapsed when they realized they could face accessory charges. Fair-weather friends vanish when consequences get real. She moved back with her parents, who were reportedly furious about the bills and embarrassment. Her relationship with her dad was shattered, they barely speak. I got all my stuff back, though the watches were scratched from Sophia wearing them, adding to the settlement. I ran into her at the grocery store months later. She saw me, went white, and bolted down another aisle, the restraining order still in effect. "Nico, with me," whispered, "is that her? Damn, she looks rough. Karma's a hell of a thing." She looked tired, stressed, likely working retail to pay her legal bills. I almost felt bad, then I remembered her laughing, calling me a trained seal in Italian, and the sympathy vanished. "I'm dating someone new now, Elena, a veterinarian who asks about my family and listens when I talk. We met her parents last month, taking things slow. She values my heart, my roots, and we're building something real." Sophia wanted to play games with my dignity. Well, she played herself.